Hey guys, my name is Ryan, and welcome to Overwatch Central. Today we're sitting down with pro player, Mercy player Swimmer, to just talk about the state of her in the game currently, just whether she's meta or not, kind of her pros, her cons, and the important things that I guess Swimmer really wanted to highlight with this hero, especially with finding ways to make her engaging and really fun to play. Basically, important things to know about Mercy in this new meta that we're facing in ladder at least. You can check out all the Swimmer's details in the description below, but let's get started. I guess first question, who are you for those that don't know you? Of course you haven't been on the channel before. And why should people listen to you when it comes to Mercy?
Well, hi, I'm Swimmer. I'm a Contenders player for Uprising Academy, the academy team for Boston Uprising. I'm the main support for the team. I'm also a Lucio and Mercy player. I peaked 46-16 in Season 14 as a Lucio on a Mercy player. And this season I currently have an 85% win rate on Mercy after 16 games. So I'm pretty comfortable with the hero. The hero is my most played by over 100 hours. So I know I know how to play the hero pretty well.
You started off, correct me if I'm wrong, one trick in Mercy, is that right?
Yeah, so Season 4 I got the game because my friends told me, hey, you should get Overwatch, it's pretty fun, you might enjoy it. And I was like, okay, sounds good. And Season 4 I played with some friends from school and they were bronze and I didn't know what I was doing with my time or the game at all. And I placed 1500 as a Tracer Hanzo main. Very deep hero pool, as you can tell.
Of course.
And then Season 5, I placed gold, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to play Mercy, because she's pretty fun, and I enjoy playing her. So I played Mercy, and I went from 2355, which is my initial placement in Season 5, and I finished 4114 with a peak of 4200 that season. Just playing a lot of Mercy, usually solo duo queue, that kind of stuff. And I found it really fun to be in GM, and I wanted to keep working and keep practicing. So I picked up Lucio, I kept playing Mercy, and then I was consistently GM. And then Season 7, I hit 4,500 and stayed consistently top 500 for the rest of the seasons. I haven't not finished top 500 yet, so we'll keep it going.
So I guess now's a good time to talk about Mercy, because you played her through... you go back to Season 5, a period where she wasn't very good, then a period where she was very good, and then a period where she wasn't as good before. On a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being post-Moth meta, 10 being a Moth meta, how good is Mercy right now?
On ladder or in pro play?
We'll go with ladder, because that's, the majority of people listening to this, and then we'll talk about the pro player.
I think on ladder, she's probably a 5 or a 6, maybe a 7. Depends on what rank you are and what region you're playing from. Honestly, if you're for example, GM in EU, that's kind of it's a lot different than say NA West, where all the Owl players are right now. But it's the same idea where a lot of GOATS is played on ladder, but people have started to give up and I don't like playing GOATS. GOATS isn't fun. So you have two types of comp games. You have the comp games where you get GOATS, or you have the comp games where everyone gives up and they go Orisa Hog with a Mercy. In general, GOATS is still a very strong composition, but it requires such teamwork that a lot of people in ranked don't want to play the comp. So they end up going Orisa double sniper with a Mercy, and Mercy thrives with Orisa because it's usually a tank that synergizes well with DPS like Widow, Hanzo, Soldier, McCree, Bastion, Torb, stuff that Mercy benefits a lot from. Mercy doesn't do a lot with Tracer or Genji or Brig that much, just because it doesn't fit the way Mercy's played. Mercy's played more as a pocket character, where she pockets the main DPS and they do a lot of damage off of that, where Tracer needs to be up in the face of the enemy, and Mercy can't do that because Mercy will die instantly if that happens. But in Orisa, it's hard for teams to approach the Orisa just because of the massive damage output, and Mercy is part of that, because increasing the damage just disallows anyone from really getting close to you, which really helps Mercy a lot. And it's a counter to bad teamwork GOATS, in the fact that GOATS overall is a very, very, very strong composition, and that's why it's the meta. But on ladder, the teamwork just isn't there usually to properly play GOATS. So a composition like Bunker, where you don't necessarily need as much teamwork, thrives because you can just click heads and hope for the best. So on ladder, I think Mercy's stronger than she were to be necessarily in pro play. But I mean, the Atlantic Showdown is on right now, and we're watching a triple DPS setup from Atlanta Academy against Fusion University, and they have a Merciana, and they're winning the fight right now. Because if you can play around a GOAT style with DPS, it can work. Not always. At the end of the day, Goats is still the best composition, but DPS is still very viable on some maps and some map types against Goats. And there you see more Mercy playtime, where usually it's just always Goats, and you're watching Overwatch League and it's always Goats. But teams have started to figure out, hey, we could play DPS here, and we could take advantage of the fact that they're playing Goats and play Mercy. But Mercy is still very strong and still very viable. More viable, I'd say, than before, because people are starting to trend away from Goats in both like every type of play, just because they don't want to play Goats, and they're starting to realize, hey, wait, this DPS thing's kind of good, we should play it.
We can't ignore that Mercy did have some buffs fairly recently. It was a few months ago now, but no doubt I assume that, much like a lot of changes, players realize that it's a lot better than first impressions, I guess.
Mm-hmm. I think overall the changes from in Moth meta were incredibly strong, and as we could see, it totally changed the entire meta. But the changes post Moth meta, where the nerfed healing, at first a lot of people were unsure as to what that meant, and then they realized hey, healing doesn't really matter. Overwatch went through a full 4-season meta where the entire healer composition was Lucio Zen. Without a Brig, it was just Lucio Zen. And so once people started to play around the healing a little bit more, people started to realize, hey, damage boost is really, really good. We should use it. And once that started to happen, Mercy kind of showed up a little bit more on ladder, showed up a little bit more in pro play, all that kind of stuff. But I feel at the same time, though, even though people started to realize hey, Mercy's healing is kind of low and her damage boost is good, people started to realize Ana is also pretty good again. A lot of people didn't play Ana just because Zen is just so good with Discord. But Nade is very powerful on ladder. It's been called a 10-second ultimate. Every 10 seconds you have Nade up, and if you can hit 2 or 3 people, you've probably won the fight if your team can follow up. It's the same thing with damage boost. If you can damage boost a good DPS and they have the space to do their work, they're probably going to pop off and win you the fight.
There's one thing that's always been bothering me about Mercy, and I feel like she's a hero that's reputation kind of precedes her now, especially after the Moth meta. I mean, you as a player, predominantly playing Mercy for so long, must have experienced probably a lot of negative comments, let's be honest. Yeah. But it does feel to me like Mercy's a lot better than people give her credit for, but nobody wants to play her. Or a good portion of players will play Ana over Mercy just because Ana's a lot more fun. Would you say that's not so much a problem, but would you sort of agree that's the case?
I'd agree that's the case. I think a lot of people have problems with Mercy, just because, one, people see her as a low skill hero, which in some situations she can be when you're sitting behind a Mucker Shield and you're just holding right click on a Bastion. I'm sure you've seen the Custa clip where he right clicks, goes AFK, grabs some water, and comes back. Yeah. And people think that's all there is to Mercy, and at times that is. You right click your main DPS and hope you don't die, heal them when they need to be healed. But other times Mercy is a high pressure situation where you need to make sure your team's alive and this is happening. There's so many variables going on. But at the same time, I feel a lot of people like playing Ana, again, just because of the fun factor involved. You can hit a sleep and you feel the satisfaction of hitting a sleep, or you hit an anti and the fight's instantly won because of something you did. Versus on Mercy, if you don't play her a lot, you often don't see what's happening. I can hold right click on my DPS and they can be getting kills, but if I don't play Mercy a lot, I don't really understand oh, okay, I mean, that's cool, I press right click, but that's all that happened. It's not very fun. But the more and more you play Mercy, honestly, the more fun she gets, because it's her movement is what I find the most fun about her. And against Goats, movement is very, very important, and I think more people are going to start to realize just how fun Mercy is with movement. But at the same time, I still think Ana, in general, is considered more fun to the general player base. I'm sure everyone has heard the stereotypes oh, Mercy players don't have any skill, they don't have any of this. And again, at times it's the bunker where you just don't need a lot of mechanics. And then at other times, Mercy is incredibly skill-based, where you just need to have the movement always, and you need to be always moving, and you need to make sure your entire team's alive and you're alive and all that kind of good stuff. And then I think it's a different game almost, and that's when it becomes fun.
So it's kind of like you said, I think there's almost this reputation that all top 500 Mercy players are female streamers that don't have a good grip on the game. That's the attitude, I suppose, of some players immediately. You as a pro player now, you have almost this authority on this hero now, which I think there isn't many players that have gravitated towards Mercy. It's more Lucio players that have had to play Mercy at some point during the Overwatch League. Generally, we're in this period where Mercy seems quite good, like her popularity is going up. So what are the important things to note for players that may want to play her, will refuse to play her? What is important that you think people should really know about, like, this shift in meta almost?
Yeah, I mean, when I started out playing Overwatch, I was playing Mei because she was fun. I was playing Tracer because she was fun. And my friend was like, hey, can we get a healer? And I was like, but Mercy's no fun. Like, I don't want to play Mercy. Like, that's a stupid hero. And then finally I put the time into Mercy, and I just had so much fun. Like, I have over like 70 hours in quick play on Mercy, just to like, honestly, the more I started to play her, the more I realized, like, hey, this is like a really fun hero, and like she can do a lot. And I think it's just, and it's like the same thing with like Genji. Initially, you start playing Genji, and he's like really, really hard, and you don't understand why he works. And then you see like the top Genjis, and they do this like insane like ghost dash, and they do the 180s and do that kind of stuff, and it looks so cool. And it's the same idea with Mercy. Like, you start out slow, you don't really know what's happening, and then you start to build up, and all of a sudden you're doing massive jumps midair, or you're flying halfway across the map to heal your teammate, and it just starts to feel good when you like make sure your team's alive and you save a teammate from death and all this kind of stuff. Like, you get a big res and your teammate pops off. It's that kind of satisfaction.
I feel like it's a thing where you also play Lucio. His pick rate is dropping more dramatically in ladder than anything else. Probably has a lot to do with what you mentioned, but is this a good opportunity for Mercy to sort of get more popular?
Mercy has always been an extremely popular hero just because like she's easy to pick up. Not necessarily for like the fun factor, but easy to pick up mechanically. But I think definitely with the drop in like the sight of goats and the increase in bunker, I think this would be a great time to start to learn more Mercy and play more Mercy. Of course, try to only play Mercy when she's viable. Of course, like, you don't want to play Mercy when your team's playing like full die with Tracer Genji, because you're not going to do much. Or like, don't play Mercy when your team is currently locking Zen, Rhine, Brig, Diva, and Zarya, because you're not going to do much on the hero. Try and play Mercy when you have a chance, like, to actually do something in the composition, like in a bunker when you can damage boost someone, or if you're playing like 2-2-2, but you have a Winston Diva and like a Hanzo or something you can damage boost. The idea of when I go into a game and I'm figuring out what hero to pick between Lucio, Mercy, or Ana is, what is my team playing currently? Is my team playing more of a super aggressive style where I might need speed, or are they playing like a more reserved style where I can damage boost them and like kind of stay back and make sure my team's alive? Or are they going to take heaps of damage because we only have a Brig as our secondary healer? Like, what should I play? And it's the idea of just like kind of looking at your team before and making that judgment. And it's at the end of the day, it's up to you what you want to play. But it's the making the judgment call of, do we need damage boost, do we need speed, or do we need the burst healing that Ana provides? And that's just your choice, and it's what you need to choose. So I think definitely Mercy can be played a lot more with the current meta, but at the same time, it's a game-to-game, map-to-map basis on what hero you play.
We'll sort of finish up on a more controversial topic, I suppose, of do you think that there's an element of, we'll see like a meta where Mercy is incredibly strong again? Because I have this feeling that Blizzard are always going to keep her sort of at arm's distance, if that makes sense. Like, they don't want to have another moth meta. Is that something that you agree on?
I'm not sure, honestly. I think at the same time, Blizzard recognizes that a lot of people didn't enjoy moth meta just because they didn't enjoy the res mechanic. And Blizzard has done a lot to change the res mechanic where it doesn't feel as intrusive as it did before. And I think they did a really good job with that. I think at the same time, Mercy might see a return sometimes, but I don't think it'll be for like a decent amount of time. I think Bunker's starting to pick up in popularity, and we might see more Mercy in that. But I think in general, Blizzard for now is going to keep, like, as you said, an arm's distance away from Mercy. They probably won't change her too much. I think personally she's in a really, really good spot, and I don't think it's Mercy being necessarily bad or good that's keeping her out of the meta. It's just Goats is like the best composition possible, so why not play the best composition possible? So I think, like, in general, it's just Mercy not being bad, it's just Goats being so good that you can't stop it.
And we've had like the Rework Mercy movement and stuff like that that's kind of died down, but is that something that you agree with? It sounds like you found your own way of having fun with this hero, that you don't feel like Mercy is a boring hero to play necessarily, or at least not impactful.
A lot of the argument for the Rework Mercy was that she didn't feel impactful, or she didn't do anything, or like Mercy was like, look, I don't do anything with this hero, blah blah blah, all that kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, you are doing something with Mercy. You are enabling your team to do what they need to do, and it's the same thing with Lucio, just without like the speed. It's like I'm allowing my team to do their job. At the end of the day, Lucio and Mercy are main supports because their entire job is to enable their teams. Lucio's there to enable them with speed. Mercy's there to enable them with damage boost and res. And the Rework Mercy argument was just that Mercy, look, she has low healing, she can res, and that's about it. That's her entire kit. But there's so much more than just the abilities to her kit. It's the movement, it's the Valk, it's everything. And I think Rework Mercy initially, right after the Moth meta, had some sort of like idea that was correct, because a lot of people saw her as an extremely weak hero, and a lot of people picked up at like, oh, this hero is so weak, she can't do anything, she's dead. But people started to realize more like, hey, this is good. And I think I personally didn't agree with Rework Mercy, just because I still found her extremely fun, and I still found how to play her properly, I guess, and with her new playstyle. And I feel like it was like the same idea where, you know, a lot of players don't want to give Mercy a chance to play her the first time. A lot of Mercy players saw like, oh, this big change happened, and I don't want to give Mercy a chance anymore. Like, I don't want to put my full effort for it because she's a different hero now. Like, she's a completely different playstyle. She went from being like a team healer to a pocket healer, where she just focuses on making sure the team doesn't die, or like she makes sure the one DPS can do like what they need to do. And it's just, again, like a change in mentality, a change in playstyle. And so Rework Mercy was like, I don't want to change. And it's the same idea with any game. It's like some big change happens to your favorite champion or hero or game or whatever, and it's the change factor where you don't know if the change is good or bad, but you just don't want to have the change in the first place. And I think that's what happened with Rework Mercy. Is the change happened, and they didn't want to see the change happen. So not necessarily like not giving it a chance, but they just didn't want to try the new playstyle, I guess.
And I guess finally, where can people see more of you? Whether you stream, your tweets, all that kind of stuff. Where can people see more?
So I stream. I have a very sporadic schedule right now because I'm playing on a contenders team, and I'm practicing, and I'm just finishing up high school. So I'll be able to stream more, but currently I don't stream a ton. But I plan on streaming more, and I stream at my Twitch at twitch.tv/swimmer. And I also have a Twitter, and that's twitter.com/swimmerow.
And that's it for this time. Thank you very much for watching. You can check out all the Swimmer stuff in the description below. It's the first time he's been on this channel, so do give him some love and appreciation. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. Take care, and we'll see you next time.